As an entrepreneur, you're writing a lot. You're writing social media posts, you're writing emails, you're writing sales emails, you're writing sales pages, you're writing about pages, etc. I could go on forever. And after you do so much writing, you can start to wonder, well, what do I have left to say? Or now I'm not feeling inspired to create blog post content, or the social media posts that I used to get blown away with in terms of I was captioning so much. There's so much to capture. Now I just feel stuck in a rut. So this is normal, this is common, and we can totally get you out of it. And one of the best ways is to read other writing that inspires you. So I have a selection of books that are going to be specifically helpful for entrepreneurs who do a lot of writing. But in general, if you really enjoy writing or want to get back into writing and find some inspiration again, this list is going to be super useful to you. So stay tuned. Future Emma here. So this video turned out to be really long, and that's why I am inserting myself into this moment to tell you this is actually just going to be part 1. We're going to focus in this video on really creative books that inspire you to be more creative, and some really unique ways of triggering creativity so that you can start writing again as quickly as possible. This is going to be useful for any type of writing you do, both as an entrepreneur and any writing in life. And to be honest, a few of them are going to be really useful for all creative pursuits. 2 are going to be very specific to what I just said. 1 is useful for that, but it also is going to provide you with a lot of specific support as an entrepreneur who's creating content. So you're really going to want to stick around for that. That's going to be the 3rd book that you'll learn about. And next week, we're actually going to look at some books that will create some structures for you to be playful and creative within. So if you're the type of person who really likes to start with a template or a structure, so you're not starting from scratch, maybe think about when you learned how to write a 5-part essay back in high school, and by using that structure, by the end, your argument was way stronger than if you had just kind of gone willy-nilly and written paragraph after paragraph. No, the structures are really critically important as an entrepreneur who's trying to create results. And that's why we're going to look at some of these. But I'm going to save that for next week. So that's going to be in a part 2 video. And I hope you enjoyed today, but that you'll stick around for the next week's. All right, we're going to start with a classic that most writers will know, a lot of artists will know, and I'm hoping more and more entrepreneurs get to know. This is a book, and I actually have the workbook that goes with it, although you don't necessarily have to. This is called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. So let's just look at the book initially. The workbook's a little bit larger, but it matches the copy I have. The Artist's Way, A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity. This is a beloved book, and there are ideas from this that are going to be useful for everybody. Even if the idea of a spiritual path to higher creativity doesn't resonate too much with you, this will help you be more creative and also take some of the pressure off of where to find inspiration and just getting writing more consistently. I'm going to read you a little blurb from the back. So, The Artist's Way is a powerfully provocative and inspiring work. In it, Julia Cameron takes readers on an amazing 12-week journey to discover the inextricable link between their spiritual and creative selves. This groundbreaking program includes introductions to 2 of Cameron's most vital tools for creative recovery, the morning pages and artist states. We'll talk about those in a second. Hundreds of highly effective exercises and activities, and guidance on starting a creative cluster of fellow artists who will support you in your creative endeavors. So, if that automatically sounds exciting to you, because it would sound exciting to me, I mean, it did the first time I heard it, then please pick this book up. If you're not going to get any of the other books, pick up this book, because it will change your relationship with creativity and make writing just feel a lot easier. But there are some tasks or activities that I've taken away that are useful for literally everyone who has to write. Even if you just have to write corporate emails, this will still help you if you feel stumped when you have to do it. And the one that I'm thinking of in particular is morning pages. Now, morning pages technically are supposed to be done in the morning and you're supposed to go for and fill a certain number of pages. But I like to also share a kind of tweak on that, which is just before you have to write. If you're not feeling up to it, you're not feeling inspired, before you sit down to write, or when you sit down to write, open up a notebook. Ideally, it will be a piece of paper because it will get your mind moving. And I'll talk to another benefit in a second of using a piece of paper, but you basically brain dump. So anything that's coming to your mind, stream of consciousness, you write it out on the page. And even if you don't go for a full 3 pages or a full 3 minutes, whatever timer you might set, although I think that can be good to get started, at a certain point, you'll realize that your thoughts are slowing down. So it's a lot easier for your thoughts to keep up with the pen on the page, and they will start to match. And suddenly everything feels clearer. And then you can go ahead and write the thing that you didn't feel like. It's usually just once you get started, also the same as like promising yourself you're just going to sit down and write for 15 seconds. And it just becomes a lot easier to continue after that. So take away the morning pages idea for sure. And you're going to love learning about things like artist states and the creative cluster. Like there's so much in here. I'll actually also share what each of the weeks include. Week 1 is recovering a sense of safety. Oh, so good. Week 2, recovering a sense of identity. Week 3, recovering a sense of power. Week 4, recovering a sense of integrity. Week 5, recovering a sense of possibility. Week 6, recovering a sense of abundance. Week 7, recovering a sense of connection. Week 8, recovering a sense of strength. Week 9, recovering a sense of compassion. Week 10, recovering a sense of self-protection. Week 11, recovering a sense of autonomy. And week 12, recovering a sense of faith, followed by an epilogue. There's also a Q&A in here, Creative Clusters Guide. It's amazing. I really, really recommend this book. And I actually want to go through it properly over the 12 weeks in detail as soon as I can pick a start date. So if anybody wants to do that with me, let me know. And the copy I have actually has a workbook that comes with it. This is definitely optional, but it can help you to keep track and just make it a little easier to do exercises. So that is the first book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. All right, the second book is kind of in the same vein, and it is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. So this is a relatively recent book when compared to The Artist's Way. The subtitle of Big Magic is Creative Living Beyond Fear. So this will resonate with you if you loved everything about The Artist's Way. You love the spiritual component too. This will really, really resonate. And even so, for example, my dad listened to the audiobook of it, which I recommend, by the way, because this one isn't quite as much activities and exercises, but Liz Gilbert is such a good reader of her own books. She's got such a personality, so I recommend the audiobook. But he's very practical and scientific and down to earth, and it helped him and resonated with him. Even though Liz kind of mentions things that you could take as spiritually or metaphorically, perhaps, as you'd like. One of the things that she talks about is the idea of the muse or the muses in ancient Greece. And thinking of it that way can take the pressure off of your creativity. So you don't have to hold yourself to the standard of being creative and inspired and creating something new and novel every single time. You show up to do your work, and how good it is in a sense is up to the muses. So, they're kind of outside of you. So that creative spark is something outside of you that you can invite in and make space for by showing up to do it. But it's not 100% your responsibility. For, better and worse. If it was 100% your responsibility and you wrote a best-selling novel, it might really boost your ego. But then what do you do about book 2? What about that pressure? So if you accept this idea to begin with, that creativity comes partly from you, perhaps, but also this idea that it's also something outside of you and circumstantial as well, it can just take the pressure off and let you have fun with creativity again. You show up, you do the work, and you're not thinking about how professional or how amazing it is. And that is true as well with the writing we do as entrepreneurs, right? So when we sit down to write a sales email, or especially when we're writing blog content or video scripts or any sort of content that we want to be inspirational or educational, etc., it can help take some of the pressure off of us. I'm sitting down, I'm going to follow maybe the template that I'm going to use, I give my writing coaching clients, or I'm going to follow the structures. I know I need to write this type of piece, so I'm going to show up, I'm going to do it, and muse, it's up to you to make it especially creative. Now, there are other ways to generate creativity, and we're going to look at a few of those in a second, but I really like this. It takes the pressure off. Plus, that's just one piece of what's in this book, but it's my favorite standout piece. There's some really fun anecdotes in here too, so highly, highly recommend. An alternative, if you can't pick up the book right now, is to watch the TED Talk that Liz Gilbert did that essentially encapsulates a lot of Big Magic, and I'll link both the book and the TED Talk in the description below. All right, this is a creative book. This is the Imagineering Workout, Exercises to Shape Your Creative Muscles by the Disney Imagineers. I don't know a lot of people who have this book, but I love it. I think it's awesome, and it's not specific to writing. So you can actually pick this up and use it to get you creatively thinking and problem solving for all aspects of your business and honestly your life too. So I think what I'll do is I'll read you a little blurb here. So the imaginary workout, exercises to shape your creative muscles, will stimulate your creativity, strengthen your ideas, and most importantly, inspire new approaches with interactive, ingenious, and practical creative exercises time-tested and used by the Disney Imagineers. This workout is for anyone who wants to learn new ways to problem-solve tasks or assignments, whether they're creative, logic-oriented, everyday, or event-inspired. Ooh, so good. So let me read some of the table of contents to you, and that way you'll get a sense of what's in here. So, why this book? How to use this book, an exercise, yes, if, storytelling and storyboarding, an exercise called Dream and Do, your creative license, which actually, let me show you. It's so fun. This is about creating a literal creative license for yourself. So fun. You'll actually notice, and before I go back to the table of contents, there's a lot of art in here. There's a lot of cartoons, and you actually have the signature of the people who are giving you these exercises in each of the sections. So this exercise is by Bernie Mosher, has a signature. Really, really cool. Okay, let's go back. So after your creative license, there's an activity section for warming up, getting started, getting into the idea zone, techniques, which is very, very practical, shaping and toning, going the distance, strength building, and then, of course, acknowledgements and inspiring resources. So let me randomly pick another one. Ooh, this one's going to be really helpful, specific to writing. This is called Those Good and Bad Words. It's by Steve Bayer, a senior concept designer a senior concept designer of creative development. And this is kind of what it says. Is the impossible going to the college of your choice, buying the bigger house, or building the next great theme park attraction? These things can happen by creating a foundation for possibilities to occur. The secret to getting your desired result or achieving the impossible is knowing it is possible. A can-do philosophy clears the way for idea flow, while an enthusiastic attitude is a vital component of a brainstorming session. This is the activity. Write a list of words that make creating possible, then put them where you can see them at a glance. Practice using these words in your thinking, especially in those inner dialogues when you mull over ideas. Use the words when writing or discussing your ideas. Practice with friends. Practice making possibility language visual. Keep the words in view during brainstorming sessions. We are apt to forget to use them in the heat of a great idea session. And then, have fun with the negative words. It even suggests make your version of a bad word voodoo doll or vampire doll. Remember, energy vampires suck energy out of meetings or idea generation. Pin or tape negative words written on tags directly on the doll. This will build awareness of when you're using them, giving you an opportunity to change to words of possibilities. Change your language and change your outcome. And it has some examples of you potentially writing them in here. But they're so fun, and this could literally be an alternative to the brand voice guides that I do with my VIP clients. I also do that in the Copy Wisdom Brand Messaging Workshop series, which, by the way, is coming back the month that this is coming out. It starts on September 30th if you're interested. I'll talk a little bit more about that later if you're curious. But have a list of words that are positive and are negative in the experience of even your ideal clients. There's so many more nuances, but I think this one is kind of a fun one that you can throw into both your perspective on business and changing your perspective and encouraging yourself, but also think about what words are encouraging and which ones are deflating or shame triggering to your ideal clients. What a fun idea. And there's a gazillion more of these in here, some of which involve drawing, some of which involve talking. It's so fun. Fun to do with friends or a team as well if you have a growing team as an entrepreneur. So that is the Imagineering Workout, Exercises to Shape Your Creative Muscles by the Disney Imagineers. So next, we're going to move a little bit out of the strictly creative realm, and we're going to talk about structures that can help you to create new ideas and to kind of play creatively within the confines of structures. So this is a book called Content Design by Sarah Richards. It's a really interesting cover. It's a real book. When I first got it, it actually kind of looked on I think I got it from Amazon. Because it just has text on it, it almost looks like, I don't know, not a real cover. I don't know how else to describe that, but it is. It says on the front, as someone who writes for the web, I want to learn what content design is and how to start doing it so that I can communicate in the most user-centered and efficient way for my audience. That says it all, really, in a sense. And this actually is, once you read the book, it's kind of connected to an exercise. There's certain words in here that are underlined. I will share the table of contents again. Chapter 1, Why Content Design Matters. Chapter 2, The Science of Reading. Chapter 3, Content Discovery and Research. Chapter 4, User Stories and Job Stories. Chapter 5, Bringing Your Organization With You. Chapter 6, designing content. Chapter 7, writing content. Chapter 8, pair writing. Chapter 9, crits. And Chapter 10, finished pages. And it's a really cool book where it has the most interesting variety of fonts and sizes ever. Like, everything about this book is really, really unusual. And it explains what Chapter 9 is about, crits, by having giant text on one of the pages, and it says, crit is a short nickname for content critique. But on the other side, you have a totally different size of text, and then another different size of text. It's all over the place. It's so fun to look at. Easy to read because of that as well, I have to say. So let's take a peek at the user stories and job stories section. It has whole pages dedicated to just the most important concepts. A user story is a way of pinning down what the team need to do without telling them how to do it. A user story looks like this. As a person in a particular role, I want to perform an action or find something out so that I can achieve my goal of. That's what's on the front. As someone who writes for the web, I want to learn what content design is and how to start doing it so that I can communicate in the most user-centered and efficient way for my audience. Now, this is from the audience perspective, right? So you can use it in so many different ways. Really simple activities, even examples. You can see that there are actually examples from the web in here. It's a great book to just get you thinking about new ways of writing content, including, do I actually want to work with a partner? Is there someone in my business? Do I have a co-founder, or is there another creative? Maybe you have a creative director in your business or a junior copywriter like I do. You can actually do partner writing that way. You can get things done a lot faster when you have that fresh set of eyes that aren't yours. You don't have to wait and put it in a drawer for a few days. All sorts of really interesting considerations, all the way from researching your ideal audience so you can create content for them to the very practical matters of how do you write? What are some structures that will give you kind of like the template that we often need just to get started. So we're not starting actually from scratch. Really great book. Not very big. Wasn't expensive if I remember right. You can find it on Amazon and it's in the description below. Oh, and again, it's Content Design by Sarah Richards. That's it for part 1, because we covered a ton of creatively inspiring books that will also give you a lot of specific content ideas as an entrepreneur. So I hope that you found them super useful. Let me know which of these 3 books sounds most resonant to you by leaving a comment down below. I'd love to hear if there are other books that you think fit this category, ones that inspire your creativity, get you to thinking unusual ways about creating content, etc. Let me know as well in the comments below if you have another book recommendation that I didn't get to here. Also, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so that you don't miss next week's video, where we're going to go even deeper on structure. So we're going to look at some books that provide you some really powerful structures so that you're A, not starting from scratch, and B, you're actually sure that what you're writing is worthwhile. It's creating that necessary psychological journey for people to go on and creating emotional resonance so that everything you're writing is results oriented. I love these structures. And that's why they actually play a role in Copy Wisdom, the brand messaging workshop series. So this is a course that I teach a couple of times a year. It's coming back this September 30th. It's going to be the first day of classes. I would love to see you there. We have a few more spots than we have in the past because we're slightly changing up the format. So to learn more, click on the link in the description box below, Copy Wisdom, the brand messaging workshop series. It would be incredible for you to be there. It's live, so you have actual support from me. So that way you're not trying to implement what you're learning from these books alone. So we actually cover, among other things, we figure out how to decide how your ideal client speaks. So how to do that necessary research and pay attention so we know how they speak. Then looking into your values and your psychology using brand archetypes, which is one of the key things that can be really hard to figure out alone. And that's always people's favorite part. If you love psychology, if you love to learn about yourself, if you like personality tests, if you're an INFJ, for example, please consider coming so that you can actually find out what your brand archetype or archetype mix is. You're going to love it. So that is a huge component. It's always people's favorite part every single time. We also do it in VIP days, which Copy Wisdom is a more affordable version in many ways of what you would learn in a VIP day. So that's another one. We learn how to create a brand voice guardrail so that you can combine how your ideal clients speak and how you speak so that you're creating a common language and they always understand exactly what you mean and they're always super drawn to you uniquely. You're differentiated. You're you. We talk about how to create mission, vision, purpose statements, and we create stories. So you actually build a bank of stories using all these different structures. So you'll learn how to create an origin story, multiple education stories, etc. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see you there. We always have such good feedback, and I know that this year is going to be even more powerful because we have changed the format a little bit. So check it out, link in the description, or you can go to emmagivens.com/copywisdom. I will see you there. Thank you for joining me for today's video. I will see you next Thursday. Take care. Bye.